Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
So that's how we're doing this. That's how we're starting the year. Right. Welcome in to Game Over Toronto, everyone, after yet another Leafs loss to the Detroit Red Wings. 2 in less than 48 hours. That's hard to do in this day and age. And this is a frustrating game because the Leafs played so much better than they did on Saturday, and they lose anyways. And obviously, there are going to be a lot of frustrations coming out of this game as the Leafs start 1-2. Hardly the most inspiring start to the season. Yeah, that sucked. All right, let's talk about it. Welcome into Game Over Toronto. My name is Zach Payne. I will be your host for this evening or afternoon's programming as the Leafs game got moved to even earlier on this Thanksgiving Monday because of the Blue Jays game that is starting momentarily. So welcome in. We're going to have maybe a bit of a shorter show today just because it is Thanksgiving. People got things to do and we got to, people got to go watch the Blue Jays, let's be honest. So starting off, hello to Matthew in the chat saying not a good start to the season. At least the top line, no matter who you put with Matthews and Nyes, looked dangerous. It took all game for them to go to the net, and we will talk about that as well because for as much as the Leafs did look better, there were problems still. There were still problems that lingered throughout this one. So we got to talk about it. As always, we are going to start in this first period segment with a game recap, talking about exactly what happened in the game. In the second period, we are going to talk a little bit more big picture, and third period, even more abstract. And then in the overtime segment, we will, of course, get to your questions. Luke Venables checking in saying, poo. Yep, that tracks. It was... what a weird game, man. What a weird game because, like I said, the least... Okay, we'll talk about that. So first period, we're going to talk about the game. Second period... Woo! Second period, we'll talk about some of the more specific things in the game. And, yeah. I know shots on goal isn't everything, but come on. Hey, the Leafs were the better team tonight, and they didn't win. That's just how it goes. So in this game, to start off, the Leafs... The message coming into the game was that the Leafs had to play better. Craig Berube pulled his team aside and said, this is not how we play hockey after Saturday night's loss. The second period, as we talked about on Saturday, was horrible. And all game, the Leafs were getting run out of the building. So Berube met with his team and they're like, okay, we're going to play better in this one. And they did. The Leafs were very active on the forecheck early in this one. They did a good job of using their physicality to win puck battles along the boards, and they were getting shots on goal. They weren't the most dangerous shots in the world early on, and for most of the game, that will become a theme. But when the Leafs did have chances, Cam Talbot stood tall in goal for the Red Wings. And it seemed like we were going to get to the end of the first period with a 0-0 game. But then, with about 3 minutes to go in the period, Morgan Rielly takes a cross-checking penalty. Now, admittedly, I hated this call. It was a very soft penalty. Comfer went down very easily in the corner there, but the ref calls it. Leafs go to the penalty kill, and that penalty kill was unbelievable. The Leafs did a fantastic job for a majority of that penalty kill. They didn't let the Red Wings set up. They were clearing the puck. They were getting some chances themselves. Nick Waugh had one. And then with with 11 seconds to go in that, Simon Benoit, for some godforsaken reason, Matthews did as well, to be fair, but has his stick way up in the air, swats the puck out of play. It is a delay of game, which gives the Red Wings 11 seconds of 5-on-3. Now, they didn't score on the 5-on-3, but they scored like a second after that as they win the faceoff. They get the shot on net, which causes a scramble. The Leafs only have so many guys on the ice, and in the chaos, Dylan Larkin makes a nice play on the backhand to lift it over the shoulder of Anthony Stolarz to give Detroit a 1-0 lead going into the break. And I was pretty discouraged at that point. I'm like, great, the Leafs played good, and then they allowed a goal. And we know how bad they are in second period, so I was expecting the worst at this point. Thankfully, the Leafs did continue to play pretty good in the second period. They outshot Detroit 11-4, but there are no goals. And this is where one of the problems came up in this game. The Leafs were not doing a good job of getting to the net at all. They were not doing a good job of creating high danger chances in this one. They did a fantastic job of controlling possession, not as good of a job at getting to the areas of the ice you need to get to in order to score goals. They got some odd man rush chances. Nick Waugh was once again fantastic in this game. Dakota Joshua, there was a play where he had a check at the line that sprung a 2-on-1. Like, he was playing pretty good as well. I liked that Waugh, Yarncroke, Joshua line, and we'll talk about Yarncroke in a little bit. But in the second period, the Leafs had the high danger chances were 2-2 at 5-on-5, which you need more. Like, I love that the Leafs were limiting chances, but when you have the puck as much as they did, the Leafs had 18 shot attempts to 8 for the Red Wings. The Leafs controlled almost 70% of the shot attempts, and there was just nothing going on. Now, there was a funny moment in the second when Patrick Kane has the puck and he's skating into the Leaf zone. He curls back and he gets hauled down. And Simone Benoit gets his second penalty of the night. And I was like, Benoit, you idiot. What are you doing? This is so stupid. And then they show the replay. Patrick Kane just falls to the ground. Decides, you know what? I actually don't want to stand anymore. And he just falls over and he dives and the refs fall for it. They call a penalty. So at that point of the game, the penalties were 3-0 in favor of Detroit. And then on that shorthanded chance, Matthews and Matthew Nyes get a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-2 rush, but Nyes has the inside track on Dylan Larkin, I believe it was, and Larkin hauls down Nyes, which draws a penalty, so the Leafs go to a shortened power play. They aren't able to do anything on that. Second game in a row that the Leafs have had a shortened power play at hand. And then a few moments later, the Leafs take a too many men on the ice penalty, a bench minor, you can't have it. So you have two penalties that were flops by the Red Wings and two penalties that were delay game, like bench minors in some capacity. Like delay game, the refs will call it every time because it's pretty black and white. Same with too many men on the ice. It's not as subjective. So going into the third period, the Leafs haven't gotten enough offense going and they trail 1-0. And so naturally, to start the third period, the Leafs once again are playing pretty good. They're getting chances in the offensive zone. They aren't getting to the high danger areas, but we have a sequence where Austin Matthews, Easton Cowan makes a fantastic pass to him in transition. Matthews comes in alone. First shot stopped. Second shot, Talbot sprawls out to make the big save on Austin Matthews. He couldn't buy one tonight. Matthews was hunting for a goal all night. I think he led the team with 9 shots on goal in this one. And on a offensive zone faceoff, Brandon Carlo steps up to try to make a play. He can't make it. So as a result, the Wings get a 2-on-1, but Morgan Rielly has to stop chasing James Van Riemsdyk in order to defend the pass, and JVR pulls it back to his forehand and tucks it over the shoulder of Anthony Stolarz, giving the Red Wings a 2-0 lead. And at that point, I was like, okay, that's just how this game is going. Cam Talbot's having a legacy game, and I guess we're just never going to score. And I didn't think the Leafs would be able to come back in this one. However, a couple minutes later, Leafs, once again, working the cycle in the offensive zone, and they actually are doing things. Bobby McMahon makes a fantastic play on the boards to kind of spring himself in a little mini 2-on-1 with Matthew Nyes standing in front. McMahon hits Nyes in front, and the puck hits off Matthew Nyes' stick and slowly but surely creeps over the goal line to get the Leafs on the board. It would have been really funny if Nyes choked that, but alas, he gets his first of the year, and the Leafs draw within 1. And just a few minutes later, the top line once again buzzing in the offensive zone. Matthews forces a turnover in the offensive zone. Matthew Nyes collects it, goes down the boards, he cuts towards the net, stops, gets on his knees, sends a spinorama pass to the middle of the ice to Calle Jarnkrok, and Calle Jarnkrok is able to bury it past Cam Talbot, his third goal in 3 games. A fantastic start to the year for Jarnkrok, and the Leafs tie the game at 2. And from there, the Leafs continued to get chance after chance, but they could not bury on Cam Talbot. So it looked like we were going to go to overtime. But with 45 seconds left, a shot from the point is blocked by Matthews, and the puck goes right in the wheelhouse of Mason Appleton, who fires one past Anthony Stolarz, giving the Wings the lead with 3-2 lead with 45 seconds left. The Leafs unable to score in the final seconds, which gets us to our score of 3-2 in this one. A brutal ending for a game that the Leafs honestly deserved better in. The Leafs outshot the Wings 40-15, and as Luke Venables says in the chat, shots on goal aren't everything, but come on. When you outshoot an opponent to that degree, it's not chance. You don't outshoot someone by 25 by accident. The Leafs were controlling possession in this one. On the course of the game, at even strength, the Leafs controlled 65% of the shot attempts, 60% of the high danger chances. Granted, there were very few high danger chances, period, and 70% of the expected goals. But expected by whom, you might ask? Because the Wings score 3, and that's all that matters. The way Detroit only had 1 expected goal at even strength in this one, which is funny. It's just brutal. The Leafs did outplay them. They got to they just didn't do a good enough job at getting to the dangerous areas, and the Wings made the most of their chances. Not a good game for Anthony Stolarz, and the Leafs lose. Now, the good news is the Leafs have a chance to fix this tomorrow because they play Nashville, who is also on a back-to-back, so it's going to be completely even playing grounds. Caden Primo is going to start that one. I think the Preds have Anunin starting that one, so that should be a higher scoring game. The Leafs should be able to figure some things out offensively, but certainly not the way you want to start the season. Losing back-to-back to Detroit is not good. Matthew saying shots on goal can be a bad stat. 40 times into the crest or pads doesn't win games, especially if he gets to see them all. Yeah, honestly. And I want to be fair. Cam Talbot did play a fantastic game. He made a number of very nice saves. However, the Leafs also didn't do the best job of getting traffic. They didn't do the best job of, shooting effectively. There was a lot of action into the chest, into the pads, and a couple it just wasn't dangerous enough. The Leafs didn't threaten enough for a team that had the puck that much in the offensive zone. I liked what I saw from the forecheck. I thought the forecheck was much improved, and the effort, the hustle was much better. The Leafs just didn't get enough going. The Leafs are supposed to be one of the biggest teams in the league, but Larkin was able to push past everyone to get his goal. His kick to stick was a lucky bounce. I mean, it was a hustle play by Larkin. Scramble on a 5-on-3 that was ending. Kind of just... bit of a bad bounce, but bit of a good player just making a good play on a bounce. 82-goal season for Yarncroke. Maybe, honestly. At this rate, who knows? But he's been fantastic. The Leafs, it's funny because the Leafs have gotten depth scoring, and it hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered one bit. So that is the game recap. That is what happened in this one. We're going to switch over to our second period. We got a few of you in here. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to Game Over Toronto as I turn us over to our second period, where we have to talk about something that we all talked about on Saturday. For those of you who watched Saturday's show, you would have been a part of this conversation. We had a very elongated conversation about Easton Cowan, and I expressed my frustration that the Leafs are not sending him down, or that the Leafs are not playing him, that the Leafs are scratching him too much, and what is the point of having him be in the NHL if you're just going to healthy scratch him? And Craig Berube clearly listened to that conversation, and he said, you know what? I'll put him in the lineup. Top line! Easton Cowan was on the top line in this game with Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes, which was a shocking development at practice yesterday. The line combinations in general, pretty much everything that we talked about Saturday and I expressed that I didn't want to have happen, happened. The Leafs kept Domi at center with Nick Robertson. They put Michelli on the second line, which almost went horribly right away, ended up being eh. And Easton Cowan was on the top line. And funny enough, I hate to say it, Easton Cowan was really good. He was good tonight. Today. He had a very good game, and it was actually quite comical. I know he was playing with very good players. I thought Cowan was the second best player on that line. Okay, that might be extreme. That might be extreme. I was gonna dump on Matthews a little bit. No, Matthews was hunting. He had a few. I don't know. Matthews has been bothering me just because I have such high expectations. But Cowan did not look out of place at all, as Matthew is saying in the chat. He looked good. And to be fair, Cowan there were a few plays that he got himself in trouble. There was a turnover on his first shift. There was a couple plays where he was trying to do too much. And that's when the problems arose, is when he tried to do too much, when he was trying to dangle guys. He would, put himself into bad situations. But when he was playing a simple game, just north-south, check your guy, make simple passes, make good reads, he was playing very well. His ability to make passes in transition is very, very useful for that top line, because obviously Matthews and Nyes can get after it on the forecheck. But the problem when Michelli was on that line is they didn't have as much of a threat in transition. Michelli's very good in the offensive zone at finding guys and making those east-west passes. But with Cowan's a lot better in transition at making those passes. So I really liked what I saw from Cowan. It was very encouraging, and dare dare I say he earned himself another game on the top line tomorrow night. I would not change the top 6 configuration. Actually, I would just stick with the same lineup. I think you accept that Domi is not great, but like the Domi line is going to have to be sheltered, and Robertson is what he is. The Waugh line was good. The Cowan line was good. The one thing we should talk about, though, the Tavares line was not good. And it hasn't been good through 3 games this season. If we look in this one, so Austin Matthews led the way with 0.8 expected goals for the Leafs. Easton Cowan was second with 0.4. The Tavares line, once again, below 50%. They were the worst offensive line by expected goals. Tavares and Nylander down at 41%. Michelli down at 32%. And Michelli on the first shift, well, second shift of the game, first shift for that line, with just an inexplicable turnover in the defensive zone, gives Patrick Kane a mini breakaway, forcing Anthony Stolarz to make a great save. Now, Michelli was fine the rest of the game. He made some nice plays. I just don't like the fit with Nylander, because Nylander has the puck so much that it doesn't allow Michelli to do what he's best at, which is have the puck and make good passes. It just wasn't great. And John Tavares has been hustling a lot. Like, I'm not questioning his effort. He's just been a little quiet. And part of that is probably due to Nylander. I haven't loved Nylander's game to start this year. He's been rather absent as a way to like describe that, I guess. Like, I just have not liked what I've seen from Nylander so far this season. He's not been William Nylander. He just has not been himself. He hasn't had the same level of hustle and intensity that he usually does, especially to start the season. Usually he's fantastic in October, getting off to a hot start. He just hasn't been it so far. So I would put McMahon back with those guys, because I think that line works better with McMahon. However, the problem is, what do you do with Matthias Michelli if that happens? And as Matthew asked, would you put Michelli on the 4th line with Domi and Robertson? McMahon goes to back up to the 2nd line. I'd do the second part of that. But Michelli, Domi, Robertson sounds like a nightmare. And I don't mean for the other team, for the Leafs. 2 playmakers, 2 small playmakers, and a small one-dimensional scorer is a quick way to get scored on. Michelli's fine defensively when he has other defensive players around him. That would be a disaster. I would almost do Joshua, Waugh, Michelli, and then put Yarncroke with Domi and Robertson before I would do the 2 playmakers together, because that just sounds like a nightmare. By the way, we got 9 of you in here. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, folks, and come chat with us as we talk about this Leafs loss to the Red Wings. I don't know what I'd do with the lineup. I would leave the top line. As weird as it is, Easton Cowan was perfectly acceptable, and I think that I have very strong feelings about, or I had very strong feelings about Easton Cowan, with the caveat that he would have to be sick to justify burning a year of his ELC now. Keep playing like he did today, and I might start to get there. He had a very good game. I was very impressed. And per the expected goals, he finished with 72% expected goals, better than Nyes and Matthews. Not nearly as good as Waugh and Joshua and Yarncroke, who were up in the high 80s and low 90s. Which is the part, like Waugh and Joshua, by the way, fantastic combination. I love them on the forecheck. Nick Waugh has quietly just been so good. Like, he's so sick. I love Nick Waugh as a player. I cannot, like, thank you, Vegas. Thank you for that. Like, he's such a good third-line center and a super effective third-line center. I'm very happy with that. I just, I wonder if we can mess around with the third player on that line and see if we can get Michelli with Waugh and Joshua to get them in better scoring positions, potentially. And allow Yarncroke to play. I don't know. Have Yarncroke help shelter Domi and Robertson? I don't know. We'll see what they do. Although I would not be shocked if tomorrow night they did not change the lineup at all. Because at the end of the day, the Leafs accomplished a lot of their goals, which were to limit scoring or limit chances 5-on-5. And usually, if you had told me the Leafs would have 1 expected goal against at 5-on-5 and 2 overall, I would have been like, oh, that's fantastic. Stolarz just didn't have a good game. And that's going to happen. Sometimes your goalie's going to let you down, and the other goalie's going to play well. Now, I don't think Talbot played as well as the shots indicated, because the Leafs did help him out a bit. But like I said earlier, he did make a number of good saves. So It's weird to sit here and be like, oh, the Leafs played well and they just lost the goaltending battle, but that's kind of what happened. The Leafs played if the Leafs played like that every night, they would win a lot of games. They didn't win tonight or today, is what it is. I keep saying tonight because I'm so used to games being at night. It is what it is. With that being said, I'm going to turn us over to our third period here. As I do, a reminder to hit that like button and subscribe to Game Over Toronto. Follow the Game Over Network on social media. You can also follow me at Zach Payne 41 and on Twitter and Bluesky as well. We got 8 of you in here, so it takes 2 seconds. It really helps the channel grow, and come chat with us as we break this game down. So this third segment, I want to talk about something a little bit more high level through 3 games, and that's the special teams. Now, the penalty kill today was pretty good. Obviously, they give up another goal, though, which is not ideal. And the Leafs, on the whole, the penalty kill's been fine, right? I think we can say that. The penalty kill has been fine through 3 games. It hasn't been great, hadn't been bad. It's just been okay. The power play, however, we need more. And we need more chances. We need more decisiveness. We need more action around the net. We just need more from the power play in this one. Now, there were a couple of really good chances in this one. One of them, the best one, was a John Tavares shot from the slot where the wings flared out to defend Matthews on the flank when Riley headed the point. He gives it to Tavares in the middle. He has a shot. Just doesn't go. Misses the net. Happens. Aside from that, I didn't love what I saw from the power play. Morgan Riley, for as good as I think he has been this season so far, he's still a little slow to make decisions on the power play. But I have not loved Matthews and Nylander's play on the man advantage either. It looks like they're too focused on getting the puck and looking at the net for a pass down low or the seam pass. Like, I don't know what the plan is, but we just need more action. Like, Matthews just needs to shoot more. Nylander needs to just shoot more. But they can't be taking stupid shots. There was a shot that Nylander took where he got the puck on his left flank and he walked in for like 3 seconds before shooting high and wide. That kind of stuff can't happen. What we need is quicker moves from Riley, and then it gets to Matthews, shot. Gets to Nylander, shot. And then Nyes and Tavares can clean up the garbage in front. We need to create chaos in front because I've talked about this over all over last year. When and this was a problem with Marner too early in the year. Before the Leafs set up their 5-man power play unit that really got going, is the Leafs just and Matthew, you nailed it. You nailed it. The power play looks too comfortable. They are way too content to just take what the defense gives them on the power play because they're going to give them the outside. And when you don't have pressure on you necessarily, you're like, oh, look at this. Open ice. This is nice. I could just have the puck. I can kind of dipsy doodle. I can scan. I can look for open guys and make a nice simple play. Whatever. As it stands, the Leafs... Actually, let me fact check this before I start speaking. One moment. I need a fact checking break. But I will say the Leafs do have 2 power plays this year that have been cut short. The penalty differential against them is notable. There was 4-2 in this game. On Saturday, it was 4-2 once again. So 8-4 in the 2 games against Detroit. And so 10-6 overall, with 2 of those power plays being cut short. So the Leafs are now 0-for-6 on the power play with 1 shorthanded goal against. Can't have it. The Leafs power play is at their best when they create controlled chaos, is the way that I describe it. And what I mean by that is the Leafs have a lot of very high skill, high end players. And those players are able to make these reads and decisions and high skill plays in a very quickly. Without hesitation, they're very good at making those plays. When they're on the power play is the complete opposite of that scenario because they have time and space to think. And when these guys think, they get way too in their heads, they overthink everything, and they make stupid decisions. So when they get to these controlled chaos situations where it's a scramble in front or it's a clearing attempt that got batted down at the line and saved at the line and they're able to quickly head back downhill, those kind of plays are where the Leafs are at their best. And when they do that, they are as good as anyone in the league. The problem is they don't get to those situations enough. They don't get rebound chances on the power play. They rarely get any deflection chances on the power play. It's entirely just give the puck to Matthews, give the puck to Nylander, try to get a shot through, or try to get the cross seam pass through. And it doesn't work. And then eventually Morgan Rielly gets frustrated and shoots it himself. And it's usually a bad shot because he's shooting out of spite, borderline spite, but he's shooting out of like needing, like the feeling that he needs to shoot rather than just making the right read. So and there's been a problem for years. There's a personnel issue. It's not a coaching issue. These guys just have to get the puck at the net. And this always happens when they're in a funk, is they always take too long. And then once they actually start getting the puck on net, good things happen. Who would have thought? So they just need to start getting the puck on net. I don't know. Like, shoot the puck. Which is ironic considering they had 40 shots in this one. But how much of this rough start is because they're missing a certain former core form member? It's not. It's not. Like, the Leafs, let's look at the 3 games. You win a game that you were a little outplayed, but that was peak Berube hockey. Good goaltending. You made the most of your chances. You lose a game because of effort on Saturday, and you lose a game because of goaltending just goaltending in this one. Like, you played well, but you lost the goaltending battle. It has nothing to do with that. Now, granted, I don't know why Matthews' shot is seemingly, like, I don't know. I like Matthews hunting. It seems like Matthews needs a confidence builder. Like, I think once Matthews gets a goal, I think it's really going to click because he's built off. He had a bad first game. He was on Saturday. Much better today. Love to see the mindset from him of hunting towards going to the net a lot more, just ripping it from anywhere. Love to see that. So I'm hoping that he continues to build and stack these good performances. We'll see though. But I'm not. I don't think as I think the Leafs. I think the Leafs would be in the exact same position if they had that guy. To answer your question, so yeah, goaltending in this one. Special teams are not even a problem. I just want to flag that as a thing. With that being said, like I said, it's probably going to be a shorter show today. We have 7 of you in here. I'm going to turn us over to our final segment. This is the part of the show where we invite your questions. So if you have any questions, be sure to get them down in the chat right now. If you're on YouTube, hit like and subscribe. If you're on a podcasting platform, hit follow and leave us a review. And also be sure to check out our Patreon link in the description. We have both free and paid tiers if you're looking to support the Game Over Network. Then that's another way to do that. And you can come check out our Discord server that we have for the Game Over Network as well as part of one of those tiers. And like I said, get your questions in as the Blue Jays are playing right now. So I assume some people are going to want to go check that out, myself included. And it's Thanksgiving, so people got places to be. So we'll wrap this up in a few moments. It'll be a shorter show. Matthews missed an easy 5-hole on his second attempt of his partial breakaway and was still shooting high with his wrister. Honestly, I wasn't even mad that he didn't go 5-hole. I was a little annoyed he didn't go backhand because he got the rebound and he did and he just shot. Like, granted, Talbot made a great save, but I was if Matthews goes backhand there, I would have he probably would have scored. So I like that Matthews is getting chances. It's a confidence thing. I don't know. He has this weird thing where when he's in a flow state, like Matthews, when he's on, that's a goal 20 out of 20 times, like 20 out of 10 times. I think he just needs one. I think he just needs to get one on a goalie, and then we'll go from there. Luke Venables asking, what are the chances Cowan stays past his 9-game trial run here? If you had asked me on Saturday, I would have said 0. I'll say right now 15%. 15%. Which is a very large increase from over the past 48 hours. I play him again. I give him the rest of this week on the top line. Like, at this rate, just try it. He looked good there. Give him tomorrow's game against Nashville. Give him Thursday's game against... Who do they play? What does the schedule look like this week? You've got Nashville tomorrow, like I said. You've got the Rangers on Thursday. And you've got the Kraken on Saturday. I mean, the Leafs are in the middle of a homestand as well. Then you got the Devils early next week. I would keep him up and on the top line for those games, and we can reevaluate maybe after Saturday's game, because that'd be after 3 more games. So at that point, he would have played 4, and we could say, okay, is this working? Is this not? The thing that I love experimenting with the lineup in the regular season, because there's so many games, and I really like the Oilers model of having like 45 different lineup combos that you can try. I want the Leafs to have a bunch of different options they can go to. However, with the same thing, at the same time, I want the Leafs to give each of these different experiments enough time to kind of be properly tested. Like Cowan on the top line. Okay, you tried it for how much time did Cowan play in this one? I got to check. He played. That's the Red Wings. Wrong team. So Cowan in this one played 14:05. So for 14 minutes, you tried it. And I think it went well enough. Like, try it for 3-4 games. That'll give you close to a 60-minute sample size, and then you can reevaluate. That's, I think, a better basis. If Berube changes it again tomorrow, I'm going to be a little annoyed. I'm going to be like, well, you tried it and it went perfectly fine, then you went away from it. So we'll see that. Matthews and Matthew Nyes both played 22 minutes in this game. Little too much. I know they were trailing, but that's a little too much for my liking. Do you think tomorrow or Thursday is a big game? 3 or 4 losses in a row, which didn't happen last year in their bounce-back effort. The Leafs very seldom lose back-to-back games, so I would fully expect them to bounce back tomorrow. If they lose tomorrow, then they're not big games, but a game can still be important without being a big game. Does that make sense? Like, if they lose tomorrow, I would say Thursday against the Rangers is important, because you want to get out of whatever this early season funk is, and you want to start establishing winning habits. Again, if the Leafs play the way they did today, actually, it's almost good that they lost, because the Leafs they played a good game, but they lost anyway. So now Berube is going to be able to turn up the heat even more and be like, you still didn't do enough, and now you can come out against a Nashville team that is about, like, they're fine, but they have a backup goalie, and you can say, okay, go to the net against a goalie you should be able to beat. The Leafs should be able to score 4 or 5 tomorrow night, easy. You should be able to score on the Preds tomorrow. So if you do the right things, you take care of the puck. Too many turnovers in this one once again. Take care of the puck, and let's bounce back. Go out and beat Nashville. So I think winning 2 of the next 3 is important, but I wouldn't say they're big games. Does that make sense? With that being said, unless you guys have any last minute questions, I think we are going to just shut it down. I had to go back and re-listen. I thought you said 50%. No. Don't worry, Luke. I'm not there yet. Give me a few games of Cowan playing well to get to that point. If Cowan comes out and gets a goal or 2 and maybe puts up a couple points, then I can say 50-50, but yeah, give me a bit before I'm at that point. With that being said, though, guys, I am going to shut it down at this point. If you have any last-second questions, of course, feel free to throw them in the chat. If you get them in time, I'll be sure to answer them. But in the meantime, that is going to be it for this stream. Thank you so much for tuning into Game Over Toronto on this Monday Thanksgiving afternoon following a loss to the Detroit Red Wings. I will be back tomorrow night with another stream following that Leafs and Predators game, so I hope to see all you guys back here once again tomorrow night. Be sure to hit like and subscribe on YouTube if you made it this far. Leave us a review and follow on podcasting platforms if you're over there. And you can find the Game Over Network on social media at the Game Over Network. You can find me on Twitter, Bluesky, and YouTube at Zach Payne 41. And until tomorrow, my friends, cheers.